ever feel like, humanity's kind of at a crossroads?
Yeah.
Well, Elon Musk seems to feel that way, like, all the time. And he's decided doing something about it means, well, colonizing Mars and revolutionizing things like transportation and energy, here on Earth.
Right.
And we're diving into a biography that tries to unpack, like, the man behind these big, audacious goals.
Yeah.
Because to really understand Musk, it seems like you got to understand what, like, drives him.
It's true. With Musk, the companies, they're not just businesses. They're vehicles to achieve these big picture goals.
Yeah.
To solve what he sees as almost like existential problems
Yeah.
for humanity.
It's almost like he skipped right past what career do I want and went straight to how do I secure the future of the species.
Right.
But this big picture thinking, it was evident, like shockingly early on.
Even as a kid, the signs were there. 12 years old, he wasn't just messing around with code. He wrote and sold a video game.
Wow.
A functional video game that people actually bought. And then you had these stories about him like building rockets and explosives as a child. Almost like a budding chemist and physicist, but like way beyond just typical childhood curiosity.
Okay, maybe not so typical. I'm sensing a theme here. So how does a childhood in South Africa, especially during a pretty turbulent time, how does that factor into all of this?
It's huge. His upbringing was crucial, I think. The complex relationship he had with his dad, facing bullying.
Yeah.
It seems like it all just fostered this drive
Yeah.
to prove himself, to overcome challenges, to never be underestimated.
Right.
You can almost draw a straight line from those experiences to how audacious his later ventures were.
Yeah. He starts off, selling computer parts from his dorm room, which, okay, that's a pretty standard, like, entrepreneurial move.
Right.
But then he opens a student nightclub.
Exactly. And that's a perfect example of what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He saw an opportunity, or maybe he created one, but he, addressed this need that was there.
Right.
This instinct to, like, identify a demand, even if it's not obvious to other people, that's pure Musk.
Yeah.
And you see it in everything from that student nightclub to something like Zip2, which was his first serious foray into the tech world.
We're talking mid-90s here. The internet is barely a thing for most people, and he's already building these online city guides and mapping software.
Right.
Like, he's laying the groundwork for what we use every single day now.
He just had this uncanny ability to spot the potential in these new technologies and the ambition to actually build that future, the one he was envisioning.
Yeah.
But, as we'll see, that ambition also came with its share of hard lessons.
Because it wasn't all smooth sailing from there, was it? I mean, the story of Zip2 is, like, as much about struggle as it is about success.
It's a crucial turning point. Getting pushed out of your own company, that's got to sting.
Oh, yeah.
But instead of letting it break him, it's like it solidified this fierce need to control his own destiny, to build things his own way.
Yeah.
He learned the hard way that the business world, it's a tough game.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't be caught off guard again.
So he's coming off this, this tough lesson with Zip2, and you'd think, okay, maybe now he plays it safe, right? But
Right.
no. Elon Musk, he dives right back in, headfirst, into this, like, really new, really uncertain world of online finance.
Yeah, this is like dial-up modems, right?
Right.
And he's already imagining, like, this future where we're doing all our finances online.
Wow.
X.com,
Yeah.
company that, eventually becomes PayPal,
Mm.
that wasn't just about, like, making payments easier.
Right.
His vision was so much bigger. It was this complete online financial institution, like a virtual bank, years ahead of its time.
It's kind of wild to think about. Back then, people were barely comfortable buying, like, a book online,
Right.
let alone trusting a website with their bank account info.
Right.
And yet he almost pulled it off.
Almost. The whole PayPal thing, it's another one of those make or break moments for Elon Musk.
Yeah.
He gets ousted from his own company again.
Right.
But instead of, like, burning bridges, he steps back gracefully, becomes an advisor, keeps investing heavily in PayPal. He even pushes the board to, hold out for a better deal when eBay comes knocking.
So even in the face of this, like, major setback, he's still thinking strategically,
Yeah.
playing the long game.
He's got the bigger picture in mind.
And it really pays off. I mean, the eBay acquisition makes him hundreds of millions of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
You think that kind of win, anyone would just want to, like, relax on beach somewhere.
Right.
But not Elon Musk.
Nope. That's where we see this, I think it's fascinating, this pivot that he makes.
Yeah.
Instead of, sticking with tech, which he knew so well,
Yeah.
he sets his sights on something that, frankly, seems kind of outlandish: space exploration.
So the story goes, you've got these PayPal execs, right? They're celebrating this massive win in Vegas, living it up.
Right.
And there's Elon Musk, nose deep in a, dusty old Soviet rocket manual. It's almost too perfect.
It sounds made up, but it's such a perfect encapsulation.
It is.
This shift from, software to space.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like a whim for him.
Right.
He'd always been captivated by space.
Yeah.
But he saw an opportunity to make it more than just a childhood dream.
Right.
Suddenly he had the resources to do it.
Right.
And the audacity to actually try.
But starting SpaceX, it wasn't just about, throwing money at rockets.
Well.
This was a whole new level of challenge. He's going up against governments, these huge established aerospace companies, people who've been doing this for decades.
Yeah, the skepticism was, it was off the charts.
Really?
Here comes this, this young internet entrepreneur, and he's telling these veteran rocket scientists that he could do it better, faster, and cheaper.
Wow.
And the best part is, he walks into a meeting with these top engineers, and he's armed with nothing but a spreadsheet.
Wait, really? Just a spreadsheet?
Just a spreadsheet.
I have to hear more about this. It's legendary in SpaceX lore. He breaks down the cost of materials, the physics of rocketry, everything in this meticulously crafted spreadsheet. No fancy presentations, no jargon, just data, logic.
Wow.
It was like a punch to the gut for these engineers. They were used to, multi-million-dollar contracts and bureaucratic nightmares.
Right.
And here comes Musk bringing Silicon Valley efficiency, this startup mentality, to a field that had always just moved so slowly.
It's kind of wild to think that while all that's going on with SpaceX, he's simultaneously shaking things up in the car industry.
Right.
With Tesla.
Right.
Talk about thinking big.
Yeah, and it wasn't just about, building electric cars,
Yeah.
because back then that wasn't even considered ambitious. It was considered, kind of naive.
Yeah.
Musk's goal with Tesla was to make electric vehicles not just practical, but cool, desirable, aspirational even. Which is why, he starts with a high-end sports car, the Roadster. He's going right after this perception that, electric means slow and boring.
Yeah. He could have gone the economical route.
Right.
Mass market approach.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't have made the statement that he wanted to make.
Right.
The Roadster was this head turner. It was proof that electric could be synonymous with performance and style, not just practicality.
And then he follows it up with the Model S,
Right.
which is this luxury sedan that, it really kind of sets the bar for what a modern electric car could be.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just about the technology. There was a whole design philosophy there, wasn't there?
Yeah, he was obsessed with this seamless blend of functionality and aesthetics.
Right.
In his mind, Tesla wasn't just a car company. It was a lifestyle brand. It was representing this shift to this whole sustainable future. And he was so hands-on. He was involved in every single aspect of design, from the minimalist interiors to that giant touchscreen that you see.
Yeah, yeah.
Really redefined the whole experience,
He was famous for getting into the weeds, insisting on the Model S having an all-aluminum body.
Oh, yeah.
Even when, everyone was telling him it was impractical.
Right. And that's such a perfect example of his management style in a nutshell.
Yeah.
He pushes for these things that he believes in.
Yeah.
Even when they seem, impossible. And he usually finds a way to make it happen.
Right.
And in the case of the Model S, that aluminum body, that wasn't just about how it looked. It was about making the car lighter, which is super important for electric vehicles.
Right.
And Tesla ended up developing these groundbreaking manufacturing techniques to make it work.
Wow. Okay, so we've got rockets, we've got electric cars. What's next?
Right.
Of course, he's got to complete the trifecta: sustainable energy with Solar City.
Right.
It's like he was building this whole ecosystem,
It was the final piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
It all just fit in so perfectly with his vision for a sustainable future.
Right.
It wasn't just about, providing this clean energy. It was about closing the loop. You have these Tesla vehicles, and they're being powered by Tesla solar panels.
It all connects.
Exactly.
And of course, he's always pushing the boundaries even further. The Hyperloop, for example, this idea of traveling through vacuum tubes at close to the speed of sound. It sounds like something out of science fiction.
It's a classic Musk move, though, right?
Right.
He finds a problem in this case, how slow and inefficient transportation is.
Right.
And he imagines a solution that sounds, let's face it, kind of crazy and impossible.
Right.
But the difference is, he doesn't just imagine it, he actually tries to do it.
Yeah.
He puts the resources behind it.
It's that relentless pushing, that pursuit of innovation. Always trying to push the boundaries of what we think is possible.
Right.
I mean, that's defines his legacy, I think.
Yeah.
But he's also a really polarizing figure.
Yeah.
You don't get to be this ambitious, this driven, without ruffling some feathers.
He's definitely a lightning rod for controversy, that's for sure.
Yeah.
You have this cult of Musk where he's like, I don't know, deified by his supporters.
Right.
But then you have his critics, and they're very vocal.
Yeah.
They criticize his leadership style. They say he's too demanding, that he expects his employees to work these crazy hours.
Right.
He's been accused of over-promising and under-delivering, especially when it comes to, deadlines.
It's interesting, though, because on the one hand, you hear these stories about how intense the pressure is at his companies that drive to meet these crazy goals. But, I mean, you also see the other side.
Yeah.
You see the passion from his employees, the sense that they really feel like they're part of something, like important, groundbreaking. It's complicated, isn't it?
It really is the paradox of Elon Musk, I think.
Yeah.
He's demanding, he's incredibly driven, but he's also inspiring. He sets a bar that's almost impossibly high, and he pushes everyone around him, including himself, to reach it.
Yeah.
And, whether you agree with his methods or not, you can't deny that he's achieved things that most people thought were impossible.
That's very true. So after this deep dive, this look at his life and everything, I mean, where do we land on Elon Musk?
Yeah.
Is he a genius, a maverick, a reckless risk taker, a visionary leader? I mean, he seems like he's a little bit of everything, maybe.
Right. I think that's what makes him so fascinating.
Yeah.
He doesn't fit neatly into any box.
Right.
He's a brilliant engineer. He's a savvy businessman. He's this relentless innovator. And I think at times maybe a bit of a showman too.
Right.
But more than anything, he's this reminder that big, audacious goals, they can be a powerful thing.
Yeah.
Even if they sound crazy at first.
Yeah. He's a real life example of what can happen when someone is willing to, I don't know, dream big.
Yeah.
To challenge the status quo. To just never stop pushing those boundaries.
And that's maybe the most important takeaway, Regardless of how you might feel about him personally, he forces us to ask ourselves some tough questions like, what do we believe is possible?
Right.
What risks are we willing to take to achieve those things?
Yeah.
And ultimately, what kind of future are we trying to build? Because that's what his story is all about.